excellent news for all of you. News I'm sure you've been waiting for, which is that the Brazilian ex-president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, is going to be going to jail. News came down yesterday, confirmed by a Supreme Court, which had been mostly appointed by him. So some of you guys might have picked up in the news over the last few years about an immense scheme of thievery, corruption, money laundering, embezzlement, really on a, I don't know, but I believe an unprecedented scale. We're talking about billions of dollars. And it looked for a while like the guy at the very top was going to get away scot-free. Lula. Who, while he was president and after he was president, presided over this. And it involved Petrobras, the state petroleum agency, which is one of the largest, or was one of the largest companies in the world, and quite profitable before these dudes got their hands on it. I mean, that's how comprehensive and vast this scheme was. And it destroyed, I mean, the company still exists, but one of the largest companies in the world. Brazil has plenty of its own petroleum, especially offshore. Anyway, the reason I'm sharing this with you is that it gives me a little bit of hope for Brazil. The corruption is endemic, and really the only reason people enter politics is because of corruption, but it's a cultural thing. As Brazilians say, the problem with Brazil is Brazilians. It's okay to take advantage of people. In fact, you're stupid if you don't take advantage of people. On any societal and relational level. So, of course, that's what happens in government. And it's really disheartening. And it makes people who fight against it lose their animation, to put it Brazilianly. And you know, I was often disheartened by the turns things would take in the American polity. Especially, for example, when Obama was president. The arguments that people would make to defend socialized health care, for example. Or when they would defend Hillary Clinton. I would think, this is how you start down that path. This is how you start down the path of being caught in an almost inescapable loop of third worldism. I was watching a Mexican comedian the other day, and she was talking about third worldism. That was the phrase she used. You know, American politicians go to jail for stealing $10,000. And that's important. It's not dumb. And you might actually run into people from other countries who might make fun of you for that. Remember when the French made fun of us because we wanted to go after, we being a bunch of Americans, not all, after Bill Clinton for his sexual peccadillos and lying about them. Ha 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 ha, the French would say. No, it's important. I keep talking through the train. And of course there's corruption in the American system, and there's even vast corruption. But all the mechanisms that exist to keep it under control are really important. And there's corruption that's kind of, it has a nice little facade to it, like, you know, lobbyists and pork that gets added to one state senator or to one senator's state. Yeah, that is corruption. But it's important that they have to jump through hoops. And it's important that the payoff is so small, right? That these guys are just trying to stay in office or just trying to get another 50 grand for their campaign contributions. Even that ought to be combated against. And the combat itself is important. It's going to be a real problem when Americans think it's not a big deal. And I can see that coming. I can see Americans beginning to think that political corruption is just the way things are, and it's okay, it's not a big deal. That will be the beginning of the end. Anyway, happy day. Lula will be going to jail soon, not immediately. And if you're interested in maybe getting a little taste of what this is about, there's a new show on Netflix called The Mechanism, which is based on a book about the anti-corruption operation. And I've quite enjoyed it. You might too. It's fictionalized. I mean, it's not just a dramatized documentary. It actually is like a show, a TV show. It's a drama. And, you know, it's based on this book, but, you know, they do little name changes, but the name changes are obvious. Like, everyone knows who, if you follow the case, if you're a Brazilian, you know who's being represented. Like, they changed the name of Petrobras, the Brazilian oil company, to Petrobrazil. So, I mean, there's no, you know, it's all thinly veiled. But you might enjoy the show, The Mechanism, on Netflix. All right, y'all. The peace of Christ be upon you.